Holy moly! Why do I feel like I'm always starting these videos out with holy moly? Just like every day, I'm like, oh, there's not going to be any news. And then Donald Trump, and then the Fed, and oh my gosh, holy moly. Yeah, we just covered for about 50 minutes what happened with Donald Trump. We'll add some commentary right here. Well, you got to talk Apple, we got to talk crypto, we got to talk Russia, we got to talk nuclear, we got to talk Tesla. We've got a lot to talk about here, actually. Cybertruck, Volkswagen, GM, Hermes. Oh, we've got a lot to cover. First, I want to hit, though, a little Fed speak update. Federal Reserve Bank President, Bank of Atlanta President Raphael Bostic says he doesn't expect there will be an urgency to lower rates, emphasizing that central banks must be resolute and patient as officials assess their next policy move. He says, quote, "For me, I'm thinking inflation is going to come down relatively slowly in the next 6 months, which means there's not going to be an urgency for us to pull out of our restrictive stance," he stated in a Q&A. He says there's a lot of uncertainty. We are going to remain cautious but resolute. Means we're not going to jump at the first data point. Now, let's be clear. We're way past the first data point. We're way past the first data point on being data dependent. It is so clear that inflation is plummeting. I can tell you, you know what made it the most clear, Mikey, that inflation is plummeting?
What?
Ulta earnings call this morning. The makeup brand.
Yep.
Everybody says, Kevin, they have pricing power. And I'm like, we'll see about that. I've been so resistant to that stock, and that stock has actually done very well. And I've been so resistant to adding it to my portfolio of pricing power related stocks. I've been so resistant to adding them. And then today, one of our course members, Max, he's there all the time. I love Max. He's great. We covered to get, in the course member live stream, we covered the Ulta earnings call. We go through the earnings call and we realize, holy smokes, Ulta is complaining that prices are starting to fall. That not only are their prices starting to weaken through more promotional activity, but their unit volumes are declining, which is a predecessor to more price cuts coming, because you don't want volume to fall, because then your year-over-year numbers look negative and your growth goes away. So you don't want units to fall. But what's happening is units are falling, promotional activity is going up, and on top of that, they're seeing inventories build up. So they actually ordered more shipments, expecting to sell more than they actually are. So Ulta, even Ulta, is seeing the disinflationary, almost deflationary trend. It'll come, because the first step to a drinking problem was acknowledging you have a problem. I mean, to an inflation problem is acknowledging you have a pricing problem. Because if you have a pricing problem and you're not selling the units, it takes a while. It's like the phases of denial. It's like, wait, we're not priced too high. We have great value. Brand more value. Okay, that's not working. Advertise more. Okay, that's not working. Wait. Okay, that's not working either. Drop the prices. It's coming. Deflation's coming. And Ulta is another sign of it. I don't know. What do you think? Is that do I have that right? The stages of denial there?
Oh, yeah. It's not me. It's everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Their stock didn't react too hard today from that, though.
No. I think their earnings call was from a couple of weeks ago. I don't actually even remember exactly what date it was. So there's so many earnings calls that come out. I don't cover them all right away. We usually do like the most pressing ones in the course member live stream. But we covered Ulta's earnings. We never did their earnings call. So we just went back to it whenever the date was, a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was. We went back to it and we're like, wow, even Ulta seeing that softness. And so that was a little bit surprising. In addition to that, First Solar, they're trading for like a PEG ratio of half. But in their earnings call, they're like, China's dumping solar panels and it's not fair. They're selling them for less than it costs to make them. We need regulators to do something about it. That's like a company that, I mean, what's their market cap? First Solar stock. They are a $18 billion company, dude. An $18 billion company is crying over China dumping solar panels for less than it costs to make them.
QQ more.
Yeah, exactly. Cry
I
more.
think I know the video or the day of the earnings call because from November 30th to December 1st, the stock went up over 10%. So I think I found
That
the
was
day.
it.
Yeah.
That was it. So, and that is what I found interesting as well. They beat on their numbers and their expectations. So they beat, and that's why the stock pumped. But what they actually said in the earnings call, despite the optimism about their brand, was that prices were coming down. And that, I thought, from a macro POV, was very, very interesting. But you're right. Like I said, the stock's been performing very, very well. But as we know, stocks and fundamentals don't always align immediately. It takes some time.
They do with GameStop.
Okay, so Mikey, what's your take on this Trump thing? What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just covered it. Well, yeah, there's a lot of information on eHack already. I read through that too. I listened to you cover it. I kind of have some of my own takes too. But
what's your take, man?
Yeah, I don't think it was a wise decision from Colorado Supreme Court because at the end of the day, I feel like it's something that's going to be overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court anyway, and all you're doing is kind of fueling the fire of, the election was rigged, election interference, that kind of thing. I don't think they're going to achieve their goals. If anything, they're going the opposite direction.
Yeah, you just add fuel to a hellish fire already, I think is exactly what's happening. And I think that's right. If we've previously said on the show that we think it's very important for just like let voters make the decision and just let it be over. Let voters decide and let it be over. I think any kind of interference from either side, it just comes across as dishonest rigging at this point. So you get it in both directions. And so it's, I mean, there were even quotes of Hillary back in 2016. Oh, the rigged ballots and the election fraud and ballot harvesting. Like, it's not like Trump was the first one to come up with these sort of theses. There were plenty of people who've cried foul about election integrity before, but this really rises to the level of, well, who's to say that that the actions of the president at the time did rise to the level of insurrection? That's the big question. Who is to say that? Oh, Democratic judges said that, or Democrat judges said that? Oh, well, isn't that just rich, right? Like, that's the POV. And so it's quite challenging because should Trump then only be judged by Republican judges? So that way you could say, well, it must not have been rigged because Republican judges decided it. But then it's just going to turn into it, well, George Soros donated to him, or some kind of like other, like, I don't know that anybody can actually be impartial in politics at all, or justice. Sad.
Oh, damn. Even injustice.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
It's sad how partisan everything has gotten.
Everything.
There used to be a pride of like just doing, like if you were a justice, there was a pride in the judicial system.
Yep.
Presidents had a pride. The political parties had somewhat level of a pride where if your president wasn't a good president, like that was embarrassing to you as the party.
That's true. That's true. It's like, he's not my president. That line that circulated. Yeah, that's interesting. What about this? This argument people make against like Clarence Thompson. He's one of the justices in the Supreme Court. A lot of people have been arguing that, especially like the Times has ran pieces on him, arguing that he's using private jet trips from like wealthy owners to go on vacations or whatever, and that he's potentially being politically influenced by wealthy Republican donors. And so some people are saying, oh, that's Democrats trying to attack the court because the court's trying to do Republican bidding. And then others are like, well, he shouldn't be taking donated private trips and jet trips. I don't know. Like, where does it cut? Is it true? Is it not? We don't even know what's true anymore.
Yeah. Optics are going to be a part of it too. Like when you represent the United States judicial system, like you should take that seriously. Like you should take that to heart. The whole world's watching. So I don't think it's wise to take those trips. It just
makes it look political, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So like you're taking, like you say, it's not wise. Like this is your position for life. You're a justice. That's so rare to be a justice. You're there for life, man. And to screw that up with bad optics. But then again, on the flip side, people argue, oh, well, that's rigged. He never took those trips. Where's the proof? It's like, man, you just don't even want to get involved in the debates because it's just exhausting. Like I'd rather just talk about J-Pal.
I know you would. You've got a crush on J-Pal.
Hey, man. Oh,
You were J-Pow for Halloween 2 years ago.
yeah, that's true. Okay.
I've been saying for a long time that either like we've kind of have
Thomas,
like a
sorry, I said Thompson. It's
yeah.
McKay's fault.
Yeah. Oh, McKay. We've kind of legalized bribery with extra steps in the United States, which is sad. We either need to get rid of it, which easier said than done, or make these guys go up there with like NASCAR suits with patches of their sponsors, and the more the sponsors donated, the bigger the
larger
patch.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least make it transparent who's giving you the money.
So that way, when Joe Biden does the press conference on not mentioning Tesla, and he's like, GM is leading the automotive revolution in EVs, he's just plaid top to the bottom in GM. That would be priceless. But that'll never happen.
No.
Even
But I
that'd be
can
really
dream,
cool.
though.
Maybe AI could do it. Like, you have a channel that overlays their sponsorship by percentage, changes their clothing and turns it into their sponsors. And you could put those glasses on.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. Partisan glass hack. That rolls right off the tongue.
We'll have to work on the name. But cool idea in concept.
Yeah.
What's your take on the Trump thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer of just let the people decide at this point. And really, like, if you're a Democrat right now, I think probably the best thing to do is just kind of just like lay low and let the economy keep working for you. Because that's what the Democrats have for you right now is the economy right now is trending in the direction of a soft landing, which is a freebie for Biden. A hard landing is a freebie for Trump. Well, right now, and I think we can say that without political partisan, like we think the economy's doing well. We're putting money where our mouths are. So yeah, I don't know that you need this to like just piss more people off. That's all it's gonna do. It's just there are even Democrats who are like, dude, just let the man run and let the people decide. You know, like let him, like as the phrase goes, like let him lose like a man, right? Rather than like prevent him from running. Yeah.
I've been checking Truth Social all evening to see if he tweets anything or truths anything, I guess. And although he hasn't, here, I'll show you my screen here. What he does have is 32 minutes ago, I have this ad on Truth Social. Breaking news, Colorado just removed me from the ballot, and it's a link probably to donate.
Yep.
To donate. Minimum, why are these numbers? 24, 47?
Psychological. Yeah, it's not a full 25. You know, they just A/B test this and see what works. It's all a mind game. But so I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump runs his own Truth Social actually, because it's always like his style, right? When he's shouting in his all caps or whatever. But he's actually speaking at an event right now in Iowa, so it makes sense that maybe his ad team or whatever is releasing these more like official statements or whatever. In his speech in Iowa, he actually, and a lot of people are watching it, but he hasn't really mentioned anything other than every time they come to attack me, I just get stronger. I've actually come to like it. I mean, quite frankly, they're running ads right away on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing they did with the mugshot and all the other stuff. Every attack on him, you're just making him stronger almost. Like, I don't think anybody's going to go through it the way we did on the live stream where we're looking at it or posted on HouseHack, which is what the law, or not the law, dare I say, like the old case law is saying. That's what my point is. The old case law suggesting that, well, in order to be considered an insurrectionist, you don't actually have to take part in the insurrection. You just have to be a remote proponent of it, or in other words, there's no accessory to treason. If you are even slightly encouraging it, you are a treasonist. And this is case law going back to 1807. So, I mean, boy, these justices, they did some digging to find some precedent on treason and insurrection. I mean, that's pre-Civil War. That's pre-War of 1812. They had to go all the way back to 1807 to find some thoughts on treason. I don't know, man. And that kind of digging alone as well also kind of comes to this point of like, okay, well, at what point is it just like you're just trying to find some spaghetti and sticking it against a wall? It takes all the way out of this 213-page opinion. You have to get all the way down to page 105 to actually start seeing some of their arguments. Crazy. What's your take on that?
Damn.
All right, what else we got?
Okay. Yeah, let's move on to our first real topic. this holiday season, you're not going to be able to buy a couple of the new Apple Watches if that was something on your shopping list.
Yeah, it's actually funny. When I heard that, it wasn't on my shopping list. And then when I heard that they were going to take it away, it became a lot more interesting for me to want to buy one. I almost think Apple is purposely pulling that. Yeah, he's got the Ultra 2 over here. And I'm still on the Ultra 1. I'm like, dang it, I'm behind Christian. Come on, man. Usually the only person I'm standing behind is Alec Baldwin. But anyway, it was weird. When I saw that ban, I'm like, oh, now I kind of want one before it's gone. So great Apple reverse psychology, because now it seems like they're trying to negotiate a solution with the patent infringing or claimed infringing company. What did you see?
Yeah, they were. They kept it like this. The case started a couple of months ago, right? I don't know how many smartphone watches Apple has, smartwatches. I know that this is impacting the Series 9 and the Ultra 2. You're the Apple guy, so I don't know. Is that all of them? Is there more?
It's just those two, because they have the blood oxygen sensor.
Yes, that was the big deal. So the tech company, I don't know, Massimo, I don't know how to say it, one of those. They basically sell patient monitoring devices to different hospitals. And so they had an issue with it, and they alleged Apple infringed on the product and the blood oxygen sensor that you can get from reading someone's pulse. Obviously, Apple's denying the accusations. The Apple Watches that are affected, starting on Thursday, so today's Tuesday. So in 2 days, they're going to no longer be available online. And then on Christmas Eve, they're getting taken down from the shelves on Apple locations. So you still have a little bit of time to buy them.
Little bit of time.
It's like a little promo.
It's tempting, but then I'm like, I don't need it. But then I feel like I'm SpongeBob. I don't need it.
I need it.
Yeah. But then they're going to be sold out. It's actually, I see it as brilliant marketing by Apple, as freaking usual Apple. I think they usually play this stuff pretty well. Now, Bloomberg was running a headline piece on this about how this particular company is like, hey, look, we're willing to negotiate, but it takes two to tango. It sounds like they were kind of trying to allege that Apple wasn't actually trying to participate in coming up with a solution. And again, I kind of don't necessarily disagree with that, because I think it's perfect marketing for Apple. They could just literally end of the quarter, sell out of all their watches. Oh, look, our wearable sales spiked. Brilliant. The watch is so popular, it's sold out. And then they'll settle it, the day after the quarter ends, like Jan 2.
The International Trade Commission did rule that there was some patent infringement. This was back in October, and it's funny that I hadn't heard about anything up until now, and it's time to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I guess Biden administration has up until I think Christmas Day to make a decision on that, and that's what Apple's hoping for.
Yeah, it sounded like he was almost leaning towards not doing anything, which is interesting. It always seems to be quiet on some of these things, which, maybe there's a specific reason for this. Maybe Apple really did violate. I guess that would be the interesting POV, is like, well, did you steal it, Apple? Did you actually?
Yeah, where it gets a little, because there's obviously a lot of frivolous lawsuits against these bigger companies
100%.
too. But where this gets a little bit interesting is, this is according to court documents, back in 2013, they were in discussion with Apple about creating this exact product.
No way. See, yeah, that is interesting.
So, but I guess talks broke down, they ended up not going through with it. And then Apple hired two ex-executive, or like an ex-executive and a key engineer from that very company. So it starts to get into that kind of gray area.
Yeah.
They're saying they didn't violate anything. They did their own research and just came up with similar things, their own path, but it's sketchy.
There was a rumor once that if you were like an Apple app developer, the worst thing that you could get was a call from Apple just asking you questions about your product, because they were just going to copy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's kind of scary to think about. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of the patent system, is to kind of prevent that kind of stuff. So anyway, in the meantime, we'll see what happens with those Apple Watch sales. I don't think the stock cared at all.
Doubt it.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it was up 0.5% today. The thing's almost at $200. It's like at all-time highs ever.
I mean, what percentage of the revenue even comes from watches?
Ooh, let's go Apple investor relations. I'm going to guess 8% or something nominal. But if we go to segment rev, we should be able to see that. If they break it down, oh, well, their last quarter was their 10K, so that's convenient.
Convenient, yeah.
Let's go to segments. So actually, I can even throw that up on screen, and we'll look at it together. That's a good idea. All right. Apple segments. So here we go. Okay, wearables. Here we go. But see, they lump them together. It's wearables, home, and accessories. So wearables, home, and accessories is 39.8.
That's going to count the AirPods too.
Yeah, all this kind of stuff. So that's about 10%. It's 10% including home and accessories. So home and accessories would be like the AirPod, the ear. Here it is. It's smartwatches and wireless headphones, the AirPods, AirPod Max, Beats. Home includes Apple TV, streaming, gaming, HomePod Mini, the speakers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know how popular the home stuff is, but the AirPods I think would be a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they're pretty good. So I would guess probably 5%.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, that would be about half of this wearables, home, and accessories. I mean, maybe it's 70% of it, and then it's whatever. It's 7% of Apple's revs or something like that.
They still sell Beats?
Yeah, I think so. And Beats products, unless they're just referring to the old. You're right. Do they still? I don't know. The workout stuff. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that is interesting though. Seeing the segment info here, broken down right here, and we can actually see it's been declining since 22. So there's potentially this motivation to get that number positive again, which would be good for Apple, just for growth purposes, because services are going up. Their iCloud services, iPad's down in the toilet, Mac's in the toilet, and even iPhone is negative. Every category is negative. Yeah, look at that. Total net sales 23 to 22. Everything at Apple negative. I mean, there's still massive numbers. But,
services went up. That's the only thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, services went up. You're still down 2.9%. That's wild. And that compares to the gain from 21 to 22 of 7.9%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a big one there. Now, Apple, I think, still moves very well as a stock because how could you go wrong is the idea, right? So you get a lot of institutional money that wants to be close to the benchmarks, S&P, whatever. So they just load up on Apple because it's like, come on, it's like a cash play.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got a little bit of cryptocurrency updates.
Oh,
just one with Binance. The numbers that they're ordered to pay have been updated.
No way. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. The U.S. court approves for Binance to pay $2.7 billion to the CFTC. Before it was a smaller number, I think like 1.5. So half of this is going to be as a penalty fee, and the other half
they added the penalties in. That's probably, it sounds maybe
it's
about
1.35 and 1.35. The other being for what they called ill-gotten transaction fees.
Ooh.
And then CZ himself has to pay $150 million.
Does he even have that?
I checked his most updated net worth estimates from the last couple of months, and they're still estimating he's at 10 bill. He was at 20 something apparently, like beginning of the year or like last year, and now he's lost over half, but he's left with 10 bill if that's accurate.
Those are customer funds.
Oof.
My allegation, my opinion, but I don't know. I don't trust the guy. I think it's just the interviews that I see him in. But then people get mad at me in the crypto community. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just watching the interviews. I'm like, okay. But yeah. Anyway, so they've updated that. Now he's still stuck here, isn't he? Because there was this belief that he was going to be able to go back, to the United Arab Emirates or where he likes to be in Dubai or whatever. And it looks like they basically have kept him here. And so he's not been able to leave pending the actual outcome of his case, I think, in March or April, somewhere there. And so, boy, I really hope they do like a live trial of this. I want live trials again. Like, that's why Amber Heard was fun. Like, nobody cared about Amber Heard's turds. Nobody cared. Did they? Did we care about Amber Heard's turds?
I didn't.
No. Yeah, I didn't think so. But it was certainly must-see TV, well, at least some of the clips of it. But, yeah, we don't have enough of this live court proceeding. Like, it's supposed to be transparent court. It's not. Anyway, All right.
As long as it doesn't
okay,
turn
so
into
that's
like reality
Binance.
TV.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's fun.
Yeah,
It's real reality. Because reality TV is so rigged. So, but that is interesting. This update on the CFTC, as well as disgorging 1.35 billion in ill-gotten fees. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
1.35 to the CFTC and 1.35 of the ill-gotten fees. Okay, some international news. Got some Russia-Ukraine stuff.
Ooh,
Putin says Russia is ready to talk on Ukraine.
really?
This is as of a few hours ago. He was addressing, I think it was some Russian defense ministry. Said he's going to be prepared to talk about Ukraine with the United States, with Europe, if they wanted to, but that ultimately Moscow is still going to end up defending its national interests, as you would expect. And I've got a couple of quotes. He said, "In Ukraine, those who are aggressive towards Russia, and in Europe and in the United States, do they want to negotiate? Let them, but we will do it based on our national interests." And he also said, "We will not give up what is ours," which I'm assuming he means the 17.5% of Ukraine that's now Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another interesting thing I noted from this is from a Reuters article, is that Russian forces, and this is per the Russian defense minister, Russian forces have laid 7,000 square kilometers of minefields in Ukraine, some up to 600 meters wide, along with 1.5 million anti-tank barriers and 2,000 kilometers of anti-tank ditches.
Wow. They really want that land. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, why they've been lobbing the attacks at Kiev every so often. Even in the last few weeks, there have been air raid sirens over in Kiev and sort of more central Ukraine. And it's really, I think, to sort of just distract the Ukrainian military on like, oh, look over there. Quick, plant some more mines. It's wild. It's quite disgusting what's happening. But interesting on Putin here on this idea of readiness to talk. I think, again, just like when the Israeli invasion occurred, when we discussed this, he has to at least try to come across as a reasonable person to Russians. We know he's a madman, but he has to try to come across as a reasonable person to his country so he doesn't get killed, basically, or overthrown. And surprisingly, Russian life just seems to be going on as mostly normal. Yeah, this has become a regional conflict, as Ron DeSantis said, but got massive flack for. It's become a conflict over that edge of Ukraine. Crimea, Donetsk, Dnipro. So we'll see. Worth noting as well, just adding to this here and clarifying, this Binance settlement is the CFTC is the additional penalty. Apparently, the Justice Department is milking $4.3 billion. The CFTC is taking 1.3 in disgorge from ill-gotten fees and another 1.35
in fees. Yeah,
Bro,
wow.
So it's like so now both of those agencies have come out. So DOJ and the CFTC, and you know what? They still haven't said. SEC is going to come out with a big one too, because that case isn't even settled yet or over yet. So that's to settle this one. That actually puts us at 2.7 plus the previous 4. Yeah, that puts us at 6.7. Then you're going to get the SEC come in for like the grave rob. Oof, they're really
so screwed.
You
think CZ will have to pay any more out of his own pocket?
I mean, anything that he has to pay from his own pocket, I think he'll just end up funneling over from Binance. But I imagine now that regulators in there, it's going to be a lot harder for him to do that because, he's getting watched like a hawk, as quite frankly he should, because I'm sure there's a lot of customer money in there. So we will see. All right, what else?
Part of this Russia talk, the Putin talk, their nuclear triad role has increased, he said. They're upping their nukes.
Gotta revamp the trash nukes they had.
He says everything is modernized now.
Oh, okay. All right, Putin. Yeah, that's it's nuclear saber rattling is what it is. It's to try to, like, if you're not, it's kind of like with China. So with China, if China's like, don't worry, we're never going to invade Taiwan, then the U.S. can bully China around a little bit more. Whereas if China's like, we might invade Taiwan, and then the U.S. like, all right, look, can we be reasonable about this? What if we reduce some sanctions over here? Can you have a little bit less of a presence? Well, maybe if the sanctions go away 90% instead of 50%, maybe then we'll reduce some of our presence. And no, I don't know if we can do it. Oh! Planes start buzzing, American planes. They send the spy balloon or weather balloon or whatever. How about now? Are you interested in negotiating? Yeah, okay, we'll reduce some of those sanctions. I think that's exactly what happens in the background. And think about it. If China weren't aggressive, if Putin weren't seen as a madman, he probably loves that. You know, people calling him a madman. If he weren't seen as somebody who's building out his nuclear arsenal, his ability to actually talk and have leverage over his counterparties falls. Yeah.
You get more with a kind word and a gun than you do with just a kind word, right? It's not too dissimilar from what's happening with Iran either.
Oh,
With all the nuke talks and the sanctions and the loosening on them with one U.S. president to the next U.S. president.
Yep, that's a good point.
We've had some oopsies with Iran too, though. But
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, $6 billion. Oops. That's okay. Apparently that got frozen.
yeah,
Next.
That's what I've been told. All right, Yemen. You covered this. Was it today? The Houthis, the attacks on the ships.
Oh,
you want to
yeah.
give us a really quick summary before I dive into this?
Yeah, so quick outline, and we go pretty deep on HouseHack, but basically Goldman is of the belief that the limit on oil prices should be somewhere around $3 to $4 of increase that these Houthi-based attacks would have on oil markets. Rather, it's much more likely to affect shipping prices by 25 to 50%. You just can't add ships fast enough. It takes a long time to manufacture a ship, and so freight is really inelastic. And the bigger concern is what could happen if this expands. So if the United States sends warships, what happens if they send a Tomahawk missile over to kill some Houthis and they accidentally kill some civilians? And then you have like a broader war that breaks out in that Red Sea. Bloomberg Intelligence sees this as absolutely inflationary, they say. But I think that's also like the argument that has to be pushed to appease the bears and keep subscriptions from the bears. It's like, yes, inflation is coming. Don't worry, there's still hope for your gold. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got a little video to show you. This is I guess like some Houthi propaganda for you. This is the Houthis telling the U.S. to bring it on. Let's see if this intimidates you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Danger Zone music. I don't know if we want to play that.
Yeah. Good call. Okay, so we got Danger Zone music.
It's playing the whole time.
Okay.
The little patches. I think it's like, yeah.
To the... I'm not a singer, but then you kind of know what's going on. So, I mean, that plane looks like it's like 60 years old, man.
Yep.
Would they blur this guy out?
Yeah, they blurred
couldn't
his
find
face.
a Houthi who didn't want to be blurred?
The side of the plane, it says like, I think it's like death to America, death to Israel, something about Jews. I don't know.
Watch, he can't even take off. Dude, like even the window looks like gross. The runway looks
The runway's,
nasty.
like half abandoned. It looks like weeds growing through.
Oh, I can't get lift.
This is basically the whole video is just this plane flying around. They'll show
Taking
in a
off.
second. Taking off. Cruises a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over some of the city. And then I think this is
And we don't have enough fuel for this.
this is like anti-air missiles from the ground. We're in a little artistic shot.
Don't mind them. They're empty. Well. Yep. This is your classic propaganda. Look, we got one plane and some empty bombs.
Yep. So this is the Houthis telling the U.S. to bring it on. And I got one more. Here's the U.S. bringing it on.
That's got to be a meme.
I don't know if the audio's okay in this one, Christian.
Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now.
Nah, yeah.
Military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love.
It's just music, man.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I
sing
get
this
it.
one?
Yeah, this is like basically it's like look how strong we are. Look how much money we have. Don't
Those
get me wrong.
ospreys. I think we grounded all of our ospreys, didn't we? These.
Oh,
ones,
I know they
the
keep
VTOL?
crashing. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Training exercises, they crash. Landing on aircraft carriers, they crash. I don't know what it is with those things. But you know, at least we have F-35s that are basically.
Ooh,
oh wait,
never
only
mind.
like oh shoot, yeah.
It's
What is it like? Less than 50% operational because
Yeah,
they don't
those
have
are
the
the
parts for maintenance.
F-35s. Oh, those are F-16s now.
Yeah.
But they should
The
be F-30s.
F-16s, Gen 3s, but they're just reliable and they work. You know, the Gen 5s and 6, I don't think we're on 6 yet, but I mean, old bombers here, yeah.
The A-10, I think they're discontinuing these too. And the Hercules
Oh, they'll just give them to Ukraine.
Yeah, you're probably right. The B-52, this is one of the most badass bombers out there. These things are massive.
No, yeah, I mean, or maybe not necessarily with Ukraine. They're barely giving them some jets now, but yeah, you just sell them to the other European countries or whatever at a discount, and then go print some more money and manufacture more. That's the benefit of having the strongest dollar. Is you could basically print money and give it to every other foreign country you want, and use it for your benefit because you could just print more. So, I mean, I suppose if I had a money printer, I guess I could have all the friends in the world. With the exception of very, very few, like North Korea and the Houthis.
So
And
I guess the U.S.,
and Iran.
yeah, Al-Qaeda and ISIL.
Oh, God damn
The list is getting longer the more I think about it.
Shit. Yeah, Russia's probably not too happy with
No,
us.
they're not going to be stoked on it. Neither is China. Huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, looks like the U.S. is sending a Navy over to that part of the world to...
Yeah, we were talking
Watch
about
over.
that just a few days ago too. How the U.S. is probably going to send some support pretty quickly over there, and they did that pretty fast.
They started some international task force, a couple of other Middle Eastern countries, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't like that it's escalating over there either, but
It's like all escalation, and that's drone warfare too, which is so interesting. This combat versus drones as opposed to versus pirates. Pirates, not of the Caribbean, but of the Somali coast.
you have Pirates of Djibouti. It's a real country off the coast over there.
Oh no.
Okay.
Do we have to tell them about the new drug that came out? Probably shouldn't do that.
What?
Floppa.
Let's move on. Automotive news. Some Tesla, some other automotive news as well. Okay, so for Tesla, this was really interesting. There was a Forbes article, and this is based on a Lending Tree study, that Tesla drivers have the highest accident rate per driver.
They're probably also the youngest and most male, in fairness.
Most male.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like most of their audience is like 25 to 45-year-old dudes.
More than BMW, though?
Oh yeah, dude. Because you get like the classy, like the 55-year-old midlife crisis, got at my Beamer. You know. My take. What'd they say?
Possibly. Well, it was a pretty bearish article against Tesla safety, especially because Tesla always claims they're higher safety with autopilot.
Right.
Now, one thing I did notice that was odd is they were doing it per driver versus the per 1,000 miles driven, which is how most studies work.
Correct. Yeah.
So then I looked into it and I was like, oh, let me adjust for that. Dude, Teslas are actually driven slightly less than the average car, so it makes it even worse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, I think that's just like, if you think about it, if you took, first of all, I wouldn't be surprised if males are substantially more likely to get in accidents.
100%.
We should look at like accidents by sex.
And let me actually
Not
add an
sex
asterisk to that.
accidents.
Yeah. I don't know if males are more likely to get in an accident, but they are almost for sure more likely to get into like an accident that would deploy airbags.
Dude, yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Christian, do you want to pull this up? Look at this. Number of drivers involved in fatal. This is fatal crashes.
Yeah.
Okay. But so male drivers is the dark blue. Female drivers is the light blue.
Yeah, team men.
We're winning. So that, like, when I saw that my first reaction was, well, you have to remember who Tesla's demographic is. The riskiest driver is driving a Tesla. So if it weren't a Tesla, there'd probably be even more deaths compared to the safety that a Tesla does have. But yes, so here, I mean, look, you have almost a 3-to-1 ratio on dudes dying compared to women, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure Andrew Tate, who's obviously the king of all things fact, I'm pretty sure posted one video clip of a woman crashing her car into like a center divider or whatever. Remember, we showed that. Did we do that one? Anyway, and then he put a caption, "Women can't drive."
Oh boy.
And it's ironic because then when we look at the stats, it's like, well, actually, dudes kind of suck at driving. And so that's bad right here. That's A. And then B, younger drivers are statistically more likely to here. Let me navigate around here a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab some facts on this. So let's go. Car crashes by age. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's like a U. Like as
Yeah.
your age goes over 90 or
Yeah.
80, you know, it starts
Under 25 is bad, and then once you go up like maybe 65 plus, it starts to get bad again. 70 plus.
something like that. I'm just guessing. So let's see what it is. So this is total number of crashes. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I want to go show this up here. This is NSC injury facts or whatever. So here's 25 to 35 right here. Percent of total crashes, 22.5. As you can see, it's way higher than all of the other ages. And actually, I was wrong. I mean, the 75 and older crowd, they're actually in just as few crashes, which is weird, a 16 to 19. But then again, that's a 3-year range right here. This could be like a 15-year range.
True.
Right? Because that's only for 3 years you're in that category. Whereas over here, you could theoretically be in there for 25 years. You know, if you're 100 and still, I don't know who's actually 100 and still driving, but there are certainly 80-year-olds who are still driving.
And typically 16 and 19, the only thing you're really driving to is, 90% of your driving is driving to school and back. 20 to 24, you're probably going to college. So this is number of driver of crashes. This isn't a rate, right? So
Right.
25 to 34, that's when everyone's driving to their actual careers. That's when the bulk of your career happens. So I can see why that would be the highest one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's interesting that you have this segment. Well, this is tough because really 25 to 34 is 9 years. And this right here is 7 years. Those two combined.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? So if I take, how many pixels is that? This is how I do this. 178 pixels. So if I'm going to add 178 pixels to this, that takes me about right here. That's kind of what the chart should look like. And that would be 7 years versus 9 years again. So this chart sucks. Let's put it that way. This chart sucks. But let's make it simple. With this adjusted little shading I did here, it's very clear that being between 20 and 45 and a dude is very bad for driving. And what's Tesla's demo? What'd I say? 20, 25 to 45 and like 80% dude. So Lending Tree's probably not wrong, but they're not adjusting for the fact that you have a younger, more male audience that buys Teslas. My take.
There was a video I had very recently seen of this dash cam video, Tesla going through traffic, not really weaving, but like changed lanes, and then all of a sudden randomly floored it and crashed into a tree. It turns out it was like a 70 or 80-year-old driver, and I think, and this happens all the time, is with these elderly drivers, they'll sometimes miss the pedal. Yep.
Yeah, and I would guess that even though that happens, you still probably have more like 17-year-old knuckleheads who are just doing stupid stuff.
That's true. I was just thinking more of like, if you floored in a RAV4, it might take a couple seconds for you to even notice that you did that. If you floor it in a Tesla, like I drove your Plaid again just the other day.
That's a good point.
You floor it in one of those, it's like, whoops, I'm on the other side of town now in like half a second.
That's true. Yeah, one of the guys from the office who was driving the Plaid once almost drove all of my, or almost drove the Plaid through the airport gate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Very nice of you not to mention McKay by name there. I don't know for sure that it was a McKay. That was just an educated guess. Yeah. Anyway, that was really interesting. A couple more key findings, just because I found this article really interesting, this Lending Tree one.
Yeah.
They analyzed 30 car brands. The worst drivers is Ram, which that used to be the
Ram.
Dodge, the pickup trucks they branched off. 32.9 incidents per 1,000 drivers. Tesla was up there, Subaru was up there. But so Ram had the worst drivers in 23 states, and BMW drivers have the highest DUI rate by a wide margin.
Wow, how interesting.
Which surprised me because I remember the stat for the longest time was that it was the Rams that had the highest DUIs as well.
Wow, it's flipped.
It's flipped.
Those Beamers.
Mercury has the best drivers. Mercury. Huh. Do you remember them?
Like, didn't they go BK?
I think so, which means it's like only old people driving very slow
Mercury.
that have them.
Yeah, like who has a Mercury car? Mercury. The wiki article literally has to say Mercury automobile because like, who knows about it? I guess they could be talking about the Element. But defunct 2011.
2011.
Yeah, discontinued.
Don't name your cars after planets. Saturn's also out the window.
Oh yeah, that's
Remember them?
true.
That was around the same year now that I think about
yeah,
it.
who bought Saturn? That's right.
Like 2012 maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
I see Saturn.
Yeah, I know. I
Comes
get the
up.
planet comes up. Yeah.
And yeah, Tesla have the highest accident rate, which I don't know, man. It kind of surprised me going against some of the other stats that we've been reading about Tesla. But like you said, there are a lot more risk takers. There's less of a tolerance because you're driving so much power.
It's all age. What's
So,
this Cybertruck news?
Cybertruck, you know how Elon was promising a boat mode, essentially?
Yeah, like a few 100 feet or something like that, just for floods, which I don't know.
There's some level of truth to that that's
Okay.
happening. So I'll actually show you on my screen right now. If you go into the off-road settings, like the Baja settings here, you get what's called a Wade mode. When I first read this, I was like, is this like named after a dude? But it's not a dude named Wade. This is like to wade through water, and it raises the height and pressurizes the battery when driving through water.
Oh, so water flows essentially out of the battery pack when it's pressurized. Oh, that's very interesting.
There was a Tesla rep that spoke on it, and they said that, well, the battery is already sealed, but what this does is like a little bit of extra protection, some extra caution. It'll pressurize the battery as well, and that keeps things nice and dry. The thing that's about all the good news for this.
Okay.
Takes about 10 minutes for the air compressor to pressurize the pack, but after that, you're good to go. I mean,
okay.
still 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a while, yeah.
The screen says that the mode automatically deactivates after 30 minutes.
Oh, so you can only float for 30 minutes or whatever.
Which is a disaster. Like, don't auto turn it off if I haven't gotten to where I need to go, right?
I wonder why. Yeah, there must be a reason for that, but okay.
But even the floating is not as much as we would have expected. So this mode takes your suspension to the highest point possible, which is 31 inches. And that's what that's the highest height is 31 inches of
That
water.
makes sense, okay.
Yeah, but the Rivian R1T can go 43 inches.
Oh.
And that doesn't have a wade mode or a boat mode or anything. It just does it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The Rivian's nice. You know, we just had an inspector guy. Christian, you were there. He was one of our favorite inspectors down in a particular area, and he pulls up in his Rivian. He's got all his tools in there, and we asked him like, "Hey, what about Tesla?" He's like, "Oh, we own 2 Teslas." I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So what about the Rivian? He's like, I love the Rivian. And then I'm like, oh, what about autopilot? He's like, I don't trust that crap. You know, that's like the classic kind of, want the EV, but I don't trust that. I'm like, but you don't have range anxiety? Because I feel like that's always the thing. It's like if you don't trust FSD, then you also have range anxiety. But this was one of the first people I met that's like, oh no, I have no range anxiety at all. And he's driving a Rivian. With the Teslas, the Rivian, no range anxiety at all. But doesn't like FSD, loves a Rivian. Also loves the Tesla though.
Yeah.
Like he didn't pick sides.
It's hard to let go initially. That Jesus take the wheel moment or Elon take the wheel,
yeah.
that's very difficult to do.
That's probably a good point.
You stay anxious. So some people, I think, never make it past that initial phase of trusting it. But once you do and you start to notice where the car really excels, where it struggles a little bit, you know when to take over like a minute in advance. It's so convenient after you get used to it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know where this sucker's going to kind of make stupid decisions too. You just get used to it. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay attention a little bit more over here.
Yeah. It used to be when I'm driving by semis, like, let me take over because it used to do the phantom braking a couple years ago.
yeah.
Or before FSD was out, just on the sharp corners, auto steer wasn't really good at it. But anyway.
Yeah. And then we're getting a little tight over here. Yeah.
But it's gotten better.
It has.
I do have some, I would say, good Cybertruck news too.
Okay.
So Giorgetto, I don't know how to say his last name, Giugiaro. He's well, to give you some context first, he's a car designer. He's also a designer for Nikon cameras and some other stuff too. And some of the cars that he's designed a lot of Alfa Romeos. He did the BMW M1. He's done De Tomaso. He's done a couple Lamborghini prototypes.
Dude,
And
I just want his name, man.
I think most famously the DeLorean. This is the DeLorean guy.
This is the DeLorean guy?
This is the DeLorean guy.
It makes sense. Like his name's something to the effect of Giorgetto, or like I can't do it, but like it's
Giorgetto Fettuccine.
Yeah, that's basically the perfect translation. I'm like, man, it just sounds so good. And then like Kevin Paffrath.
Oh no.
It sounded like the SNL guy Stephen Colbert when he said it.
Yeah. Bye.
There's a YouTuber running for governor, Kevin Paffrath.
Yeah. There's some anger in the inflection there.
Like and subscribe. Bye. Oh my god, dude, Colbert.
I loved seeing it, but yeah.
It was cool seeing it because I grew up watching him.
Yeah.
Like, he said my name. Anyway,
dude, the automotive guy Italian names are so cool. Like the guy who founded Lamborghini, Ferruccio Lamborghini, or Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari. Enzo is such a badass name.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this guy, Giorgetto Giugiaro or whatever.
Yeah.
He called the Cybertruck the Picasso of automobiles.
Oh wow.
Which I know it might not be a big deal to you, but having the the blessings of the Italian,
Of this guy.
yeah, exactly, just the Italian crowd in general, the real authentic car people, having them say nice things about a Tesla, I think that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
The quote is, he said, "It will be hugely successful because people want to stand out. It does not represent the search for harmony and perfection, but for emotion and robustness." And then he called it the Picasso of automobiles.
That's a good compliment. Very good.
I
very,
think so,
very
too.
good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So I guess is that all we got for today? Anything else for today?
Let's do one more.
One more. Go for it.
This is, I have it on my screen. This is the old North American charging standard. There's a new player on the list now on the red side that's now on the green side. I don't know if you already saw the
yeah.
news.
Okay. Yep. Well, so Volkswagen then.
That's the Volkswagen group. Oh, actually, I flipped around. Sorry.
There it is.
There's yeah. So spoiler alert. But Volkswagen Group, which is a big deal. That's the Electrify America people.
Well, and they were required to do that as part of a settlement for their Dieselgate,
Yeah,
was it?
yeah.
It was Dieselgate.
Like a
Those
$2 billion investment they had to do into charging.
Was that around the same year that Wells Fargo fake account scandal happened?
Which Wells Fargo fake accounts?
Which scandal?
I don't know why I still use Wells Fargo, but every 2 years I get an email from them goes, "We've made a mistake and we'll never do it again." And every 2 years it's something else, but it's nonstop with them.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Dieselgate.
At least they make it up with their 0.01% interest on your savings account.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, this I mean, it's gonna end up being everybody. Everybody's gonna adopt this standard, and it's a huge win for Tesla. The Biden administration is supporting Tesla with funding and subsidies for more chargers. It's just a great win for the company. So good for Volkswagen for adapting and jumping on over. That's all I got.
Yep.
Anything else?
We can end there.
All right, Christian, let's hear the music. Woo! Make sure to go to ehack.com for more updates as I publish them. I'll be posting some more tonight as well. Got some more updates I want to bring out. Stay tuned for those. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax legal. It's personalized advice tailored to you. The video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. And the video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products we may benefit from, like StreamYard. Go to betkevin.com/StreamYard. Personally operate and actively manage ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next one.